Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. Sorry for not posting in a while. Destiny's been a little bit stale, so I've been just working on Dark Matter on Cold War. I know I'm very late to the party, but we got the TWAB. Here it is for today. It looks like we're going to be talking about the December 30th anniversary. So let's go. Okay. So this week at Bungie, we got guns over here. We have a lot to cover this week, so I'm going to keep this intro short so we can get into it. We have a new emblem for you, new Trials Labs info, a long list of weapon changes, a new fashion magazine cover, more Bungie bounties, and a partridge in a pear tree. Actually, scratch that last one. It's only November. Thank you for that, Bungie. I'm tired of people celebrating Christmas too early. Okay, be true. Everyone at Bungie, both trans developers and allies alike, stand in support of our transgender and gender nonconforming community. We join the call to end anti-trans violence and discrimination. The stars burn brighter because of your courage, unwavering strength, and pursuit of truth. Ahead of Transgender Awareness Week, which celebrates the lives of the transgender and gender non-conforming community from November 13th through the 19th, we are proud to announce our new Transfried Emblem, Be True. Your light inspires, helping guide us all on a path to a better future. May it only shine brighter. As Transgender Awareness Week leads into Transgender Day of Remembrance on the 20th, a day to memorialize the lives lost to transphobic hate and violence. We also recognize the hardships this community faces. We invite anyone and everyone to join us in the remembrance of donning this new emblem. Unlock it using this code. I already got this earlier. I thought it was exclusive, so it was a giveaway, but I guess it was a free emblem that anybody can have. Just pop in ML3, FD4, ND9 in the code redemption site, and you will get this emblem. Really, really clean emblem. I actually really like it. Probably going to run it. During the month of November, all profits from the sale of Bungie's Pride Pin will benefit Trans Lifeline in support of their efforts to provide peer support to trans people in crisis through respectful, anonymous, and confidential communication and resources. That's good. Bungie's been really, really good on focusing on and trying to help the community. They did a great job with, I think, Black Lives Matter, and obviously the Bungie charity stuff has always been great. They've always been really good about that. So, and you also get some good, pretty cool swag for the game. I actually really like that emblem. Back to the lab again. This week we are visiting Trials Labs with Capture Zone. A quick reminder, Capture Zone is still elimination with the following changes. I'm interested to see these changes. I didn't like the capture last time, so 30 seconds after the round starts, a capture zone is enabled. Players can capture the zone to win the round or just eliminate the other team like normal. The capture zone has a waypoint from round start, including a countdown timer, so everyone will know exactly when and where it'll be. The capture zone starts in the middle of the map in the first round and changes location each round. Okay. We took feedback from the previous Capture Zone lab and made the following changes. We're using a stronger Trials map, Endless Veil. Rather than rotating through points that give one team a significant location advantage, we are rotating through 3 neutral zones, one at Temple, one at Mid, and one at Shrine. Okay, that is good. Because the biggest issue that I had with Capture Trials is that if you win a round, you are punished because the team that lost that round gets the flag right at them. So it was no fun. It was really, really no fun. But I think this, with 3 neutral zones, I think it'll help a lot. So it'll actually be playable this week, is what it sounds like. And the no super energy when capturing a zone, either before or after the round ends. Very big in my opinion. You would just have people who would sit on there, get their bubbles, and then put bubble on the flag, and nobody could do anything about it. It was really annoying, so glad that is there. As we mentioned last week, card-based matchmaking is on all weekend, with the Flawless Pool returning on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. As with the previous 2 labs, a 2x Trials boost rank booster will be in the whole weekend. Going forward, we are looking at adding end match rewards prior to getting a 7-win card, making it more worthwhile to play in the Flawless Pool and for increasing reputation again, especially in the later ranks. We are still firming up plans, so expect more info on rewards in December. I'm good with this. Because if you make it more incentivizing to want to actually play in the flawless pool, then people will actually care. You know, like I'll play. So this is the good stuff. Pew pew. Our 30th anniversary is coming up quick, and the new dungeon and cool rewards aren't the only thing we are adding to the game. We're also making a hefty tuning pass to weapons and perks. We've still got a little bit of time before these changes go live on December 7th, but in the spirit of transparency, let's get into it early. Please welcome to the stage design lead Chris Proctor. Chris, good day again. We have a mid-season weapons update ready to go live for you next month. Because Season of the Lost is a slightly larger season than normal, it's like 2 seasons. I don't know what slightly you mean. We have a slightly larger mid-season tuning pass for you. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Okay. I'm interested to see what they do. Shotguns. In Season 11, we wanted to see if slugs could be viable in PvE with a high enough reward for the risk of being close and the time it gets to aim at the head. Good news, they're viable. However, they're currently outclassed pellet shotguns and many other special ammo options, not to mention being part of a dominant boss melt tactic. We'd like to equalize this a bit. However, since pellet shotguns are easier to use than slug shotguns, we don't need as large of a bump. Reduced slug shotgun PvE damage bonus from 30% to 20%. Gave pellet shotguns a 10% PvE damage bonus. I think this is fine. I don't think 10% difference is really gonna like shift the meta that hard. People probably are still going to double slug. If not, they'll find something else in like a day. It's not a big deal. Linear fusion rifles. In Season 14, we bumped these up. Believe that while their potential damage output competes numerically, and they're extra hot right now because of the sweet particle deconstruction artifact mod, they can't compete with the ease of use of other damage options. Last time, they got a precision damage buff. This time, it's a flat damage buff. Increased PvE damage by 10%. This is huge because they were already really good. So when December 7th rolls around, you're doing 10% more damage. This just boosts things like Reed's Regret or what's an exotic? Sleeper. These are going to make them extremely, extremely good in the raids. So, and I'm actually really excited to see how much damage they're actually going to do. Caster Swords. We ship this with a high heavy attack ammo cost to offset a great melee weapon that also has a good range attack, but now believe it's safe to reduce the ammo cost. Reduced heavy ammo cost from 8 to 5. Not a big deal. I don't think that's going to affect PvP much. So that's definitely good. Bows. In Season 11, we bumped bow damage up 10% versus rank and file enemies. Having seen this in-game for a few seasons, it seems safe to nudge them up again. Increased damage versus rank and file enemies by 10%. Awesome. Bows are going to be more viable. This is good because like in GMs, for me personally, I like running like Trinity Ghoul and Le Monarch Tikus, all that. So definitely good. Okay, sidearms and fusion rifles. Due to an ancient data entry error, sidearm and fusion rifle projectiles were non-hit scan. Behind the scenes, the engine does math converting a projectile from non-hit scan to hit scan if it would cover a specific distance in one frame. So this would only occur running at 60 FPS or higher. Shout out to a specific community that provided us with evidence on this issue. You know who you are. Increased sidearm to fusion rifle projectile speed from 999 to 9999, which makes them hit scan regardless of frame rate. Cool. So I'm glad that's fixed. Exotics. Here we go. Vex Mythoclast. Yeah, we overbuffed this, and while it's kept in check by the peak shot potential of hand cannons, no it's not, but whatever, etc., it's definitely melting faces. In playtests, we feel it's still strong enough to be desirable without feeling free. The gun is too broken. We were saying this probably when the TWAB released of when they were buffing it. I knew they buffed it too hard. I think a lot of people knew they buffed it too hard. They just, before it even came out. So that's good. Reduced aim assist stat by 25. Don't think that affects me much. I play MNK, but okay. Reduced the linear fusion rifle mode aim assist cone scalar from 1.1 to 1.05. Now requires 3 eliminations for full overcharge instead of 2. That's definitely better. It's still gonna map you. If a good player, it's really not gonna change. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's really not much of a change. It'll affect some people, but I still think it's gonna be like completely. It's gonna be really good still. It just won't be as easy to hit those crits with linear mode, but not by much, as you can see. Fighting Lion. This wasn't a specific problem, but given increasing frustration with breach grenade launchers and Crucible, it seemed like a misstep to say, we hear you, and here's an infinite ammo version of that thing you're frustrated about. In the same patch, it should be clear to everyone that a full nerf isn't needed, so we're adjusting it. Note, this is not a full rollback. There's still a difference between almost infinite ammo and actually infinite ammo, and how weapons are used. And in playtests, we are trying to abuse infinite ammo. It was extraordinarily oppressive, which more so than we expected given that it had a ton of ammo previously. Remove the multi-hit requirement, i.e. dealing any damage will grant the buff. Okay. Increase the buff to the reload stat from plus 50 to plus 70, and increase the buff duration to 7. Okay. So they just increase the buff. That's fine by me. I don't see a lot of fighting lions, to be honest. Like a good player with fighting lion will destroy you with it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's an issue yet. We always wanted this to have Arbalist. We always wanted this to have utility in high difficulty PvE, but its lack of champion mods prevented that. And it's all about shield breaking already, so we're fixing that. Now has intrinsic anti-barrier. Arbalist is going to be actually like possibly meta in Grandmasters. Sleeper Simulant. The delta between Sleeper and the best linear fusion rifle wasn't large enough to make it a compelling option, so while it benefits from the 10% buff already, really this time, we're giving it some additional love. Increased magazine size from 3 to 4, huge. Increased PvE damage by 6%. Very nice. I really like that. I always thought Sleeper needed buff because it just wasn't if you had a Reed's Regret or something of that nature, there's no use to using Sleeper. I don't know why you would. Suros Regime. Dual mode receiver always made Suros a worse 360 RPM auto rifle, but fixing that is a straightforward stat bump. This may not make this mode dominant, but at least makes it do what was intended. Turn it into a high impact AR. Dual mode receiver grant mode now grants the following in addition to its current effects: plus 30 to range, plus 30 zoom. Interesting. I'm into that. So it's actually going to act like a 360. Cool. Chrysthesia. Given the state of stasis in PvP at the start of Season 14, we desperately shipped this weapon in a weak state, which also physically hurt us, but was the right decision. Not wanting to contribute to the problem, now that we've had more time to evaluate the state of the sandbox, we've reworked this exotic to address its weakness in PvE. Specifically the following pain point. Fire and release with the charge trigger, losing all ammo and firing the freezing shot. Removed variable trigger completely. Now fires on trigger press instead of release. This will make it feel much more responsive. Charge shot moved to special reload. Oh, that's really, really good. Getting a final blow with the sidearm enables access to the special reload. Once the charge shot is fired, the weapon reverts back to standard sidearm mode. This does not cost your entire magazine. So it is like Vex. It's like Vex in a way. Charge shot now causes an AoE, which freezes AI and slows players. Direct hits still freeze. Interesting. So it's like a cold snap Duskfield in a way, sort of. That's not that bad. I think it'll be like more viable in PvE. I don't know how broken it'll be, but because it's a sidearm, but probably not that broken. Okay. Leviathan's Breath. This bow is underused, so we wanted to give it a bump, while also making its catalyst more interesting. Expects this type of catalyst tweak to become more common moving forward. The catalyst now grants the Archer's Tempo perk in addition to its other effects. That's great. Leviathan's Breath, in my opinion, is it's a good bow, but now it'll actually be usable now that it has Archer's Tempo. Whisper of the Room. The original DPS King has fallen out of favor, with the delay before the damage buff kicking in, making the weapon less usable in short damage phases, and optimal sustained damage required all critical hits but not sufficiently rewarding precision. Reduced delay on activating whispered breathing from the catalyst from 2.1 to 1.2. White Nail magazine refill changed. Was 3 from inventory, but now pulls 2 from inventory and 1 from thin air. That is really cool. I like that. Increased damage in PvE by 10%. Is Whisper coming back? Doubtful. At least not this season. But interesting. Whisper might actually be worth bringing into a raid now. That's awesome. Darcy, the sniper rifle's damage was fallen behind as other options have been buffed, and its damage is dependent on crits while also requiring 100% time on target, so we've improved its ease of use and bumped the damage up. Reduce flinch, recoil, and accuracy degradation by 50% while Personal Assistant is active. Personal Assistant now has a 1 second delay before deactivating when off target. Was instant. Increased damage in PvE by 20%. Okay. So, that's cool and all, but here's what I would ask. Can we please make Darcy a special weapon? It might be a little hard to ask, but I would like that. Malfeasance. For a weapon all about explosions, this hand cannon's explosions were a bit underwhelming. Increased explosion damage by 50%. Damn. I saw Dead Man's Tale and my heart sank. It's my favorite gun. So, Dead Man's Tale. We've seen the Scout Rifle's uses drop dramatically on consoles since the recent nerf. So, we spent some time tuning it in a way that benefits controller much more than mouse and keyboard, i.e. we don't believe this buff will improve the weapon much on mouse and keyboard. Oh, it's a buff. Let's go. Specifically touching hip fire with the catalyst. Note, this isn't actually branching the tuning between input devices, but the bits we touched are either only present or are much more impactful on controller. Increased reticle friction fall off distance. No effect on mouse and keyboard. Less recoil. Reduced effect on mouse and keyboard. Improved accuracy. Yes! They didn't give us percentages, but Dead Man's was already, like, in my opinion, the best gun in the game. So for them to buff it like this makes me really happy. Though I'm not going to see much of a difference anyway. Anything's a little bit better. So I'll take it. Heir Apparent Catalyst. There was a data error in the Heir Apparent Catalyst, resulting in it granting too much damage resistance against players. This has now been corrected. No effect in PvE. Reduced damage resistance against players from 75% to 25%. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was the biggest issue I've had with this gun. The catalyst was way too strong. So now it actually feels like you can't just bust into in 6v6, bust into like a fight with like 3 people shooting at you and you expect to come out on top all the time. Now I feel like I don't have to run away from the thing. So that's awesome. Lorenz Driver. The bonus ability energy feels extraneous when the damage buff is so strong, and we're limiting certain weapon sources of ability energy. Removed ability energy regeneration on picking up a telemetry. Thank you. That's awesome. Fuck the Lorenz Driver. Traveler's Chosen. The ability energy granted from the perk was on a curve that isn't intuitively understood. Similar to Lorenz Driver, it seemed appropriate to address this in PvP. These changes aren't noticeable in PvE. Now grants 10% ability energy per stack on activation. Was previously more generous on low stacks, less generous on high stacks. On average, and amount for 10%. 10 stacks are unchanged. Reduced stacks granted on a Guardian defeat from 3 to 2. Cool. Perks. Let's go. Adrenaline Junkie. This perk wasn't performing as well as intended, and the path of least resistance was making it live up to its dev's name, Grenade Buckler. Eliminations with this weapon can add single damage stacks or extend existing ones. Grenade eliminations boost the stacks immediately to 5 times 5 and lowered the duration to compensate for weapon activation. Cool. I'm glad they buffed Adrenaline Junkie. It absolutely needed it. So definitely good to see that. Vorpal Weapon, a perk that grants 15% bonus damage against all targets I'm going to use my heavy weapon on. This was a non-choice and sucked the air out of the room for other damage perks. At the same time, it was failing at its original role, giving players a reason to run a primary weapon against tough targets. Was 15% damage on all weapons, now 10% on heavy weapons, 15 on special, and 20 on primary. No change to damage versus players in super. Cool. Doubt that's going to affect anything in PvP, especially for heavies, but whatever. Whirlwind Blade. This was obviously the best sword damage perk around, so while we're fine with it being good at sustained damage, we're pulling it back for shorter fights. Increased number of stacks needed to hit max damage from 5 to 10. Damn. Unfortunate, but I don't really use swords. Pulse Monitor. What if instead of activating it on what feels like a fail state, this activated on a state you'll be in almost every encounter, even if you are winning? Change threshold for activation from 90% health to 30% shield. This now requires much less damage to trigger. That's actually pretty cool. I'm glad they're actually buffing Pulse Monitor. So, mods. Quick Access Sling. The usage of this mod is very telling. It's extensively used on bows and breach grenade launchers and barely used on all other weapons. At the same time, we pulled down some options players had for improving their weapons, their swap weapon speed, and wanted to make an option available for building towards that on all legendary weapons. We'll be watching how this feels in the wild and may revisit it later. Functionality changed, was plus 100 handling, 0.9 steady stow aim, downsides time for 0.4 after running out of ammo, now 0.9 ready stow time all the time. This change also applies to the swap mag perk, as they use the same perk behind the scenes. Full auto retrofit. We've seen plenty of requests for an accessibility option allowing full auto fire, particularly on fast firing semi-automatic weapons. We also have a settings option and all works for a season after the Witch Queen launches, but decided to put a stopgap to help players until we are able to ship it. Please keep these types of suggestions coming. Added a full auto retrofit weapon mod that enables full auto when the trigger is held. Usable on legendary hand cannon, sidearm scouts, and pulse rifles. This is unlocked by default for all players. I'm never using these. Maybe on a full pulse rifle, but I never put it on a hand cannon or a sidearm or a scout. Just saying. I feel like these weapons, especially like hand cannons and scouts, they're more precision based. So I don't think that feels right. In pulse rifles, I think it's okay, but I digress. Near future, annual expansions are a good time for system level changes since they get so much more play test time over a longer duration compared to a normal season. We don't like that the desire for exotic catalysts is largely driven by the orbs of power generation they provide and have something in the works to let players build around their limitation. Weapon differentiation. If I have 2 void adaptive hand cannons, one from the Suros Foundry and one from the latest raid, why do I care about one more than the other? The stats tend to be fairly close. Perk pools can be different, but there are only so many perks, and it's a stretch to say that the perk pool gives the weapon its identity. We've got something shipping on all new and reissue weapons in the Witch Queen that addresses the issue directly and are working to expand the same solution to all weapons that drop in the future. We mentioned in the last patch notes that they were not done with special ammo economy and PvP and have a further tweak coming that should help bring down the amount of ammo floating around. Exotic primary weapons already advance ammo finder mods much faster, but we want them to feel better in hard PvE content and are adjusting all of them to reach this goal. We're adjusting some exotics, some that consistently top the PvP usage charge in an oppressive way, some that had their perks limited to a degree that's no longer warranted. We're looking at you, Chaperone. Cool. Cover story. Threads of Light is back. Our digital fashion magazine launched its second cover earlier this week and with some hot new looks on display. Check them out. Okay. I saw these. Congrats to everybody. And then more bounties. Last week we announced a slate of Bungie bounties all across the globe. They kicked off earlier this week and will be rolling out until November 20th. We've been keeping an eye on the feedback and saw requests for more bounties in LATAM in the UK, and I've added a few to the schedule. Here are they. And lullaby and goodnight. It's time now for an important update from our player support team. This is their report. Not really much, honestly. Hold on. Okay, whatever. Never mind. Hotfix coming. Known issues. Here are the Frenzy and Rampage perks and the Rampage spec mod are all named the same in Chinese. Oh, well, that's just not really that important. Then we have our movies of the week. Art of the week. Oh, look at the art. Nice. But yeah, pretty lengthy TWAB. I was not expecting that. I didn't check it before. So, but I mean, hey, I'm okay with that. Big TWAB, a lot more content. Definitely a juicy one. If you like more videos like this, subscribe. We do the TWAB every week. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.